began and ends with Pylon, Minister of Axis. Pylon stands in the doorway, beckoning me in. The letter arrived. Can't remember when. But since and hereafter I inhabit a world of decay, the world according to Axis. The Axis insinuates into the human lifeway by contagion, a malignant parasite gorging on the sludge of human debauchery, on the thick leavings of guilt and perversity that haunt the weak and crippled, defecating in the mouths of the power-hungry and insane, smearing their cocks in rancid effluvia of crack holes. In the economy of the Axis, no dark fantasy goes unheeded. Is this the law of antipathy? The disciples of the Axis are licked clean of the purality of the decent. Their auras shine like a black sea, so that even the inferno disintegrates in their presence. All that is occult in the realm of the Caliboth shines with the black light of the Axis, and the dominion of perdition is at hand. Axis is glyph, logos of abomination, neither life nor death, between the many ciphers of absence. Yet more, it is the absence of an absence, and no thing that can be known. Neutered of all materiality, it neither is nor is not. Earth is object, and therefore illusion. Earth walks without, and his shoes are empty. Axis abides within, my possessor, and Axis alone is ad nauseam. Axis is void of Axis, and absence, absence, Axis is void of Axis, and absence of absence of absence. Before the letter, I mourned with the many. An asteroid speck in the wake of Jupiter. Desperate for salvation, I threw off a faint magnetic field, an anemic pulse pummeled by the relentless swell of caliphotic gorging, an insignificant life raft buffeted on the rough seas of gluttony. Before the letter, I yearned to be stitched back together like Frankenstein's monster, woven back into the fabric of life from which I'd been forcefully rent, to taste the bitter cakes of platonic remembrance. But the letter offered a very different paradise, a different slavery. Axis offered the stigmata of dismemberment, a new yoga, and the ecstasy of torture. Surely human destiny was not to manifest darkness, but to bathe in the light of consciousness. Are we really so insane to believe that to herald the second coming we must set the wheels of the apocalypse in motion? Must we prepare to drown in a new flood and glorify Satan in order to tempt and antagonize God? Mankind is drowning in a deluge of blood sacrifice, so that neither God nor the devil can hear our cries through this crimson tide. Even our prayers sound as barbaric as the ceaseless shriek from the swarm bees, and we flagellate ourselves into submission. Our pleas fall on deaf ears, and we are alone. Entirely, whispers Pylon, bootlicker of the Axis. Follow me into this new darkness, and I will share with you my bounty. If we can't hear it coming, then it's not really there. Pull the blanket up tight over your head, my child, and naught can hurt thee. PM and a soup of darkness spews over the derelict conurbations of Locus Eyrie. And suddenly alone. The Caliphate hordes dissolve between the thin slivers of sleep. The day dwellers get lost in the enveloping tar of night, into the crawl spaces and gimcracks of the high town wall. In the blink of an eye, the streets are a sandstorm of smog and glass, shards blowing across the empty wastes of an urban desert. The air bares its teeth. I chew on the stench of rotting offal. My eyes burn, scorched by muggy steam, and there's a caustic taste in my mouth, like I licked a battery. At the centre of this god-forsaken scrapyard stands the ruin of the old library, the vault of all things infernal, where, by order of the Axis, I'm destined to meet my doom. The door of the library is a rehearsed map of fathoms, an antique slab, aged, distressed, massive, with wartime bats and hinges. Tight with anxiety, I summon the strength of time to rise it. The door groans and screeches, unwilling to share its bounty. Like rolling away the stone from the mouth of the ghoul's sarcophagus. But I am expected. I wander inside, into the bleakness. My footfalls are marked by a thick film of grey fog, cold stone walls choked by nets of cobweb dust. I enter the main reading room, a formidable atrium, hostile, black and freezing cold. On the ceiling is a huge glass mandala, stained with what looks like the picture of a slaughtered hog. Much of the glass is shattered, distorting the image. The sharp edges look like scimitar blades. A hole in the roof leaks the black light of the witching hour from outside. The silence is so thick you can eat it. I stand, quieted, and listen. Hello? Hello? The words bounce off the walls and answer themselves. There are no books to register my presence, no tomes to soak the cracked plangence of my voice. Where did the books go? Were they removed, or did they flee? Was culture, the pitiful, whinging milksop, exiled from the vacuity of Locus Eyrie? No. Unread, the books were burnt in the crematorium as a puppet show of deliverance from evil. The library is as useful as a graveyard. It's bleeding to death. I make my way through the building and up a wide stairwell. The air is dank, musty. My steps slow, deliberate. I listen for signs of life, but there are none. Hello? Hello? A noise behind me. Something clatters to the floor in the room below. I turn on my heels in time to see a black shape skate across the hall and disappear. Hello? Stop! No response. I stare, transfixed, unable to move. Just then a shadow snakes across the ceiling, its owner hidden from sight. I race for the stairs, trip over a rock plink that borders the stairway. My knee crunches into the top step, forcing it backwards into the joint. An agonizing bolt shoots up through the hip. My ears and teeth pop as my brain registers the thud of pain, my heart hammering through my bloodless chest with rising panic. I grab for the patella that swings loose in its mooring. With both hands, I force the joint forward again. And the kneecap snaps back into place. It's not fucking broken. I look up, and through burning eyes, I see the creeping shadow climbing the stairs, swallowing the last vistas of light in its wake. For fuck's sake, stop! The shadow stops and starts to retreat. Show yourself! I get to my feet and limp down the stairs. I am the pursuer now, although crippled with pain. The spectre sucks out the remaining light as it shrinks away, and I'm drawn downward towards its invisible lair. I re-enter the reading room, unsure of what insanity draws me in.
On a large oak table guarding the door is an envelope sealed with a wax stamp. I recognize the stamp, and a million spikes of the fire snake rush up my spine. My eyes dart around the room, my hearing's like a dog's. My flesh prickles with dread as I break open the envelope with shaking hands. Inside there's a playing card. I take it out slowly. The 10 of clubs. 10 of clubs. Is that supposed to mean something? There are words on the reverse side written in what I hope is red ink. When you're out, we're in. In the very instant that I read the words, the library groans. A clammy, flatulent rumble, belched up from the depths of Hades. I ache to the marrow, and the masonry in sympathy moans in agony. When you're out, we're in. The voice is so close that it feels like it's inside me. I'm frozen to the spot. I lift my eyes expecting to face my doom. My neck is heavy as a lead weight. At the far end of the room, over 50 feet of murk away, the phantom stands, arms outstretched. Black on black, so black it shines, a sightless, lightless rip in the fabric of existence. Sans eyes, it stares at me, and I stare back, hypnotized. And then it begins. Slowly the arms begin to insinuate over the walls, a dark infusion rising upwards and outwards, melting, oleaginous, eating the blackness in its wake. The fingers distilled, elongated to black thorny spikes and move ever closer to my fixated stiff body, cemented to the spot in terror. The head and body of the phantom rising to the height of the ceiling, a monstrous black mouth swallowing the library whole, moving slowly, purposely, steadily towards me. Blood returns to my eyes. Without thinking, the adrenaline pumping too hard for that. Survival instinct takes over. I turn tail and run as fast as I can, throwing myself at the library door and pulling with all my might. Shit! Fucking shit! I can feel the darkness swelling all around me, all light disappearing as the demon bears down. The door is stuck. Fuck! Open your bastard! I'm pulling with the might of Hercules, but it doesn't budge. I feel the blackness seeping into my bones, into my bloodstream, the light being sucked from my brain. There's a pile of loose masonry on the floor, and I reach down, pick up a boulder, throw it into the blackness. I take another flip, smash it at the door, throwing down at the latch with all my might. I make one last monumental effort, and the door swings free. I'm out! I'm fucking out! I'm fucking free! And I run as I've never run before. Derelict buildings with boarded up, smashed or barricaded windows, graffitied walls. A gallery of smelling splats, arterial spray, gauzy splodges of diarrhea. I hair past row upon row of burnt-out cars and vans, upturned with their wheels in the air like fried insects. The road is a lake of blood spatters and motor oil. My feet scrunch over rugs of broken glass. The air is filled with the pained howls of California sheep, routinely abused by their loved ones. Caustic soda anal enemas, spirit vinegar eye baths, broken bottle minge plugs, the whole shebang from your local discount torture. I slow down and reach a remote crossroads on the edge of town. The road dips towards the train station. Through a siding window splashed with blood and puke, I make out subhuman shapes contorting and writhing in the room beyond. A Caliphos sheet squeals and jerks beneath a mass of libidinous deformed males with pricks the size of spade handles. A pair of dwarf-like demons are forcing their jaws open, almost ripping the flesh from the corners of their mouth, wide enough for a bird to stick a dick down in seething water. Another member of the gang is on his hands and knees. He spits to lubricate her arsehole, rams his arm right up to the elbow. And stuffs the sock elbow into his mouth. My mind is a blur of black images of the horror of existence and survival. A dense brain smoke that stinks of ammonia.
shape and rushes through me. Something strikes me in the back of the head and springs away. A smack of sneering pain. I collapse. Another crack as my knee buckles again. Through the smoke I see a speeding phantom racing toward me for another strike. It strikes me clean in the face and reels away, spinning like a dervish, but soundless. I grope around in the road in search of a weapon as the demon lurches downward, this time from behind. A discarded axle. The demon swoops past at lightning speed. I grab the axle and swing with all my might, striking my attacker full in the ribs. The crunch of breaking bones as brittle as biscuits. I swing again, and again, and again, and again, each blow tearing off squelches of flesh. The demon spins like a top, a pinata stuffed with sticky ooze. Exhausted and puzzled by the lack of fight from the attacker, I drop the axle. Dead? I hear the creak of the rope above, the constant low moan of the town. I look up. The fiend is hung upside down from the underside of the railway bridge, its hands bound, its eyeballs gouged out by some blunt instrument, dangling from their sockets by stringy muscle tissue. The two black holes stare out from glistening brain matter. The mandible droops to the left, torn free in a lopsided grin. Two rows of teeth snap down to the stub, a tongue spliced into three scarlet wedges, the mouth a hot, gurgling orifice of raw nerve and lymph. I raise my hands to my face, baptizing myself with the fiend's blood. My arms are drenched black against the moon. I slouch against the wall of the bridge, try to make sense of it. Can't make sense of it. The demon jolts on the end of the rope, struggling to break free of its bindings. It jumps and jerks like a fish caught in a net, a guttural rasp escaping the throat. Eyeless, it looks right through me with extreme prejudice. The creature grapples with its useless tongue, each chunk flapping independently to form a primitive approximation to language. Beyond the margins of the city, crocodile shit, sulphur soot, beneath the blood soil, made of tunnels of thought, with foundations linking out to the moon with a hell-bent heart. There is the flesh pared away from the bone, there as its point, and with rusted wire cutters the legs and the arms are broken to pieces with the neck of each joint. Pulled out like a net, the head swings like shit, to the path that is lit by the grief of the unclean, baptized with pure blood, and the snails not trails of effluvia and badger mud. It's here that you will find the damnation you seek. And with one last incomprehensible gurgle, the demon closed its eyes, falling into the welcome torpor of death. My blood runs cold at the realization that the last vestige of logic has been nailed to a cross by the throat and gonads and gutted like a fish. Shaking off the patina of unease that clings to me like a used condom, I decide I have no choice but to make my way deeper into the district, beyond the known borders of Locus Airi and sanity itself. I steer clear of the main arterial road that leads to the river, preferring the dimly lit back alleys and byways to avoid detection. A sudden flare of light illuminates the landscape, and I catch a brief glimpse of the horrors ahead. My third eye is wide open, the inside of my head ablaze with the screams of the damned and their demonic masters. My fragile imagination suddenly haunted by barbed, alert serpents. My bloodstream poisoned by a flood of perversity and sacrificial slaughter. Every debased sexual act laid bare before me. And just as suddenly as it came, the flame is blown out. Sight sucked clean of light. And an increasingly odious darkness once again envelops my stillborn soul. The alleyways stink of piss and shit. Underfoot is a lake of sewage strewn with random floaters of fog roll, human fingers, toes, and clods of ginger hair. A limbless and headless torso floats by with the word cunt gouged into unnaturally white belly flesh. I assume it was a Califos she, but it's hard to say because the genital area is so mutilated that it could have been anything. And the tits have been cut off, leaving two stumps and cauterized bristles smeared in shit and dry blood. I turn another corner and find myself lost in a labyrinth of alleyways. From an undetermined direction, I catch a low moan. I'm not sure which way to turn, which way to run. My heart starts pumping thick blood around my body and I feel faint with fear. Stop and think how to avoid confronting the inevitable scene of depravity, avoid drawing attention to myself, creep, don't run, and avoid being the next carcass for the slaughterhouse. Another moan, oh fucking shit, which direction? I can't go back. I'm at a crossroads in the labyrinth and the last thing I need is fucking choices. A howl from a dog filling the air above and around me. Can't see anything. Fuck. Another yelp and it's a long drawn-out ecstatic moan. I can't contain myself any longer and I make a run for it. Straight ahead, go for broke, run like fucking hell. My feet make loud splashes against the stream of sewage and I realise there's no way back now. They know I'm here and if they want me, I'm ripe for the slaying. I'm running blind in a prison as claustrophobic as a basement elevator. I hear the squeal of a kicked dog and I know the hunt is on. My legs feel as heavy as concrete slabs and my tongue burns the inside of my mouth. Keep going. I run towards a shape in the shadows up ahead. It's a Califos she sitting down in the dirt, her legs in the air smeared with what looks like black mud. Between her legs I see the arse end of a small boy, his peanut testicles and walnut pizzle in full view. Shrunken, yes, but still a vibrating rod despite the cold. When the boy hears my approach, his head turns sharply in my direction. But it's not the head of a boy that looks back at me. It's the pink head of a hairless bulldog with white eyeballs glazed with ecstasy, like a veiny, blind albino rat. Its lips and jaw are wet and slabbery, and it's munching away at the Califos she twat, splattered with dog food to entice the hybrid weird boy to eat out her pussy. The Califos she hurls a volley of abuse at me for disturbing her sex frenzy. What manner of perversity this is, I haven't time to find out. I leap over the pair of them and keep running. The dog boy gives chase. With its sexual appetite virtually slaked, it's now ready for the chase, ready for the fight, perhaps ready to try to munch on my dick. Coming to the end of the unlit passage, my way is blocked by a high iron mesh gate. Behind me, the dog beast speeds towards me on all fours, snarling rabidly and striking the ground and bound like a leopard on heat, no weapons to protect. I start to clamber up the gate. I can't get a grip. My feet are fucking falling out of the holes. The dog is almost within distance of hand, striding ever closer. I can almost see the whites of its eyes. I kick off my shoes and start the climb again. Success. I'm on my way. The dog boy lurches forward, but I'm out of reach, just above its head. I keep climbing. Cujo mounts the gate after me. One more stretch and I'm on the top. I reach up with all my might, only to see two finger ends of my right hand flying off. For the briefest moment I simply watch, unable to comprehend what just occurred, and then, just as the shock subsides, a searing, unearthly pain. Tiny stub ends of the ring and little fingers. The top of the gate is coated with razor wire. Let's chop the ends of my 3 potty fingers! I drop from the gate and hit the ground with a thud. Dog boy halfway up the gate doesn't know which way to turn, but drops down on top of me. His tooth bared, going for the throat. I do likewise, and with my one good hand pressed down against his windpipe for my knife, big slapper with the other, ignoring the piercingly numb pain. With each swing, a thin streak of blood splatters across his face and neck. The beast struggles beneath me, its teeth and jaws snapping ferociously. In the background, I see the teleport sheet beating and half to save the sex toy. Dog boy is beaten down from lack of air and falls into unconsciousness. So I pick him up by one rug and swing him so hard the teleport sheet that his neck breaks in contact with the side of my face, almost knocking her off my feet. In my panic-driven, adrenaline state, I look over and punch her clean to the nose, which slams across her face and neck. By a loud splash as she hits a puddle of sewage. Finally, the full brunt of the pain hits me like a sledgehammer, and I sink to my knees, holding my hand to my chest. I bite my tongue so as not to attract more trouble. I rip a strip of fabric from the Kalifos-She's clothing and wrap it tightly around my hand and fingers to stop the flow of blood. After a moment's rest, that's all I can afford in this hellhole. I strip the clothing from Kalifos-She's back and throw them over the gate to pad the razor wire. I'm going in, whatever the risk, and there's nothing going to stop me. Not even the loss of a couple of digits. I find myself in a tight bricked square, completely enclosed and locked off. The gloom of the night sky can be seen as a pinprick high above. The square slopes down on all sides to a steamy manhole in the center that looks like a giant arsehole. The manhole gives off an unholy stench. The floor is slippery, wet with vomit, human offal, rotting matter and bloody organs. This is the outhouse or cesspit for a high complex of flats, and the plug hole leading out beyond the fringes of Locus Aereum. I sit down in a puttic and slide cautiously towards the hole, unsure of the depth of the drop beyond. But the momentum takes me, and I'm sliding involuntarily towards the pit. My instinct is to slow myself. I reach out to gain purchase, forgetting that my right hand is missing 2 fingers. The stumps scrape like chalk against the rough brick, leaving skid marks of blood. I screech like a cat. My legs flail about. A build-up of fecal matter between my soaking, naked toes. I speed towards the lip of the manhole and drop over the edge, descending into the darkness, plummeting awkwardly for about 20 feet before my knee crunches on the concrete floor and I keel over. I'm almost unconscious with pain, and I can hardly move. At the bottom of the pit is a single low-ceilinged tunnel that snakes off into the distance. Looking round, I see there's no means to climb back out. My path is marked by ill fate. My clothes are ripped to shreds and sodden with blood and vomit. The tunnel is freezing cold, lightless, airless, and menacing. I can't afford to take a rest. I have to struggle against the pain and drive forward. I start to crawl through the tunnel on all fours. Each time I depress the injured left knee against the damp floor, I recoil, a sharp spasm of pain shooting up and down the leg, my spine bending almost in 2 as though sawn through with a hacking blade. Progress is distressingly slow and painful. I can neither see where I started, nor where I'm bound. The tunnel seems to get tighter and blacker, with with every minute that passes. How long have I been here? An hour? 3, 4 even? Perhaps no more than 20 minutes. Without the aid of my senses, time stretches and fragments until it either disappears or becomes critical to being. My mind warps, unable to grasp any material construct except blind touch. Time has shriveled up like a frozen gust, returned to the black source inside me from whence it rose. I balked up time and made the world. Now time has died. Fuck it. And the world dies with it. But free of time, I shit myself. Thoughts shatter before they take hold. I feel a rising panic. Claustrophobia consuming me. I'm genuinely in the middle of nowhere, with no way out. Am I dead? Is this death? My mind oscillates wildly, surging between one memory and the next in search of the missing pieces. Aged 4 1/2, holding my mother's hand as I walk along the blacksmith's wall in the dead of winter, crepuscular light held aloft by bright crystals of ice, uneven sandstone slabs dressed in snow, counting the awkward steps as I go. 4, 5, 6, 7. The 7th slab slanted, tilt and tip. Mort, the imp, cloaked in black ice, skates past, cackles and pulls me head first from the wall. Thud, loud enough to wake hibernating animals. My face cracks the paving stone clean in half. My neck snapped, bent at a perfect right angle. My green stick forehead pressed flat against the floor, pushing the earth out of orbit. Am I dead? Is this death? Aged 11, the age of shamanic awakening, hanging upside down to free the stagnant blood that's boiling my brain. The lights go out in the house. The black teratoma enters with stealth, puts his hand around my carotid artery, squeezes and stretches like a licorice bootlace, rips it out like a plug from a socket. Pop! Everything goes quiet. The back of my throat like a leaky drain. The blood pours out through a valve in my nostrils, warm and cold, bitter and sweet, dark and light. I fall into a deep coma. Roll over, Urfe. That's a good boy. Assume the fetal position. Left side. That's it. Now this won't hurt a bit. The lumbar puncture is standard procedure. I've done this a million times. Needle number 1 clocks in at a mean 9 inches long. Daddy cool. Daddy cool. Lumbar region, sacral, place of the lower god. Knives at the ready. Stab the fucker if he makes a run for it. Needle number 2 at 3/4 inch, long enough to get past the dura mater, breaks the spinal casing, and lets us get at the yummy fluid inside. What? Shit! 3/4 inch? That should be the anesthetic, you stupid shitbag! Let's spike the fucker, he'll never know the difference! Am I dead? What? It's not my fault. I heard he tried to hang himself on a guy line on a camping holiday. He was no older than 10 at the time. Much too soon for any real results, stupid little fucker. That's no excuse these days. When you got to go, you got to go. Sit down, Mr. Urfe. Good. There. Make yourself at home. I'm sorry to say the BMP test has thrown up nothing new, not even a clue as to how possible causes of your discomfort. I'm afraid that I haven't the remotest idea what it is that's killing you. Father. There was helpfully an elevation. My skin is hemorrhaging piss. Explains the halitosis, lethargy, and the elevated derma, but the abdominal cramping and persistence of the E. faecalis bacteria in the kidney remains a mystery. There's no sign of tumorous growth, but the symptoms clearly suggest to be some form of intestinal or urinary obstruction. Biopsy has thrown up evidence of a persistent invasive ulcer present in the stomach from a strain of pylori bacteria unusually resistant to antibiotic treatment. But that's understandable given the circumstances. How have you been getting on with the Manuka, honey? My manhood aches like a rock. Our TVs also show us that someone snapped its neck. Bow lining. So you won't be surprised to hear that suppuration of the intestine wall has occurred. We're still determined to trace the breach, but several festering has already taken place in the upper colon region as a result of engaging in compact fecal matter. God, it's too early to say. I broke myself. I broke myself. Well, should you choose to allow us to investigate? Now I piss sitting down like a woman. There's really no discharge weeks from the end of my piss. So I was soon attracted to compromise. Secreted from an opening. It smells like cat to accept one day. Too late to reverse the damage in these instances. But you should piss in this job, Mr. The patient is advised to steer clear of unnecessary danger. Human intercourse should be avoided because shit is right. So is companies that large ideas, and I'd like to take some x-rays of your childhood memories if that's okay. A last throw of the dice if you can follow my meaning. I'm afraid there's something eating you inside out, Mr. And I'm here to find out exactly who or what our little friend is. Human intercourse should be avoided at all costs. Where did that come from? A blaze of reason breaks through the insanity, soaking through the skin down to my damaged senses. Suddenly a tidal wave of light floods the tunnel. I'm taken by the undertow and rinsed through by a flash of radiant energy. At last I can see. Where once I was blind, now I see the way out. Not far off, just up ahead, has the electricity been turned back on. A row of lanterns mark the way, flickering and sparkling like fireflies above me. I draw my hand up towards my face and studying it like a stranger. The digit ends bruised and alien, some even missing. How did that happen? The cock in my pants begins to harden, but it's bent in two so it hurts like hell. These are the scant comforts of returning sensuality. I look back at how far I've travelled, but the way is drenched in darkness. My mistake. When I turn back round, the sky's gone out again, and I'm back in my private hell. And that's when I determined the need to survive. Fuck. I'm losing my mind, hallucinating like crazy. I've got to get out of the pit. I crawl forward, following the residue of my recent intuition. An opening can't be far away. I feel it. This time, though, I hold on to myself, desperate not to be taken by the demons of my imagination. I've become intimate with the tunnel, connected to it in some obscure way. It's this thought that drives me on. Can any man dream his own death? Surely not. Perhaps I'm already dead, and for me there is no tunnel of light to walk towards, to guide me towards paradise. I have been swallowed by the tunnel of dark, leading home to nothing. Neuter, dissolution, void. And then I see it. Above my head, a glimmer, a sliver, a shaft of light, the end game, another manhole with a mere 20 feet climb upwards. Impressed into the bricks is a simulacrum of a ladder leading right up to the rim. I don't hesitate. I speed up the ladder like a mountain goat, all physical pain reduced to an illusion, sodden by relief. At the top I push against the manhole cover with all my might and it gives way easily. I feel the rush of wet air open, filling my lungs, and I chomp on it like a glutton. I lift my head clear of the pit and hoist myself up with my elbows. Free! Free! I don't care what horrors await me on this side. It's only this moment that matters. This very instant. silent liquid that almost splits my skull in two. The cerebellum explodes in a clamour of splinters. I hear demons sing